just jam into a little Dio there for a minute before I decided to pick up the camera and show you guys what we're doing this fine week on the Holo project. And here we are. You can kind of see that I've started sanding some of this down. I just kind of wanted to see what we had going on behind this curtain here. And you can see some Bondo here, a little bit more Bondo over here. There's a big low spot. And I'm sure it continues on much the same up that way. And then I also wanted to start sanding down this way, see what we had. You can see here, there's a great big low. There's a dent here, there's a dent there, there's a dent here, dent there, dent, everywhere a dent. But the main concern is this. We're gonna try to get that removed and or replaced with the brand and used panel. This one here. The most fun part about this whole process is going to be separating the inner and the outer, because it's full of probably seam sealer, and we're going to have to cut that. We're only using the outer because we don't want to get into this nice rhino lining on the inside of this. This side up here, the gentleman had started separating this already, and there's a big weld right there you can see. But we are only going to go to right here for our final product, but we're going to cut it the first time right here. And we're going to do that so that we can overlay that onto here, and just however we cut this one, we can lay this over here and just trace along that side and along the bottom for how we're going to cut this one. Hopefully they match up. Either that or I'm going to cut and butt both of them together. I'll cut that one, this one here, a little bit long, maybe on the outside, I don't know, maybe up here somewhere outside of this yellow tape, and then we can cut them both. And then we'll have to pull the new panel off and get this metal pulled out, because this is a sealed cavity and we can't cut and butt it and pull that away from the back side. So that's kind of the game plan anyhow. Oh, it's gonna be lots of fun. So as you can see, we'll probably start on this one. You can see all these little spot welds, I guess, and then there's the sealer between the two. Not really sure how we're gonna pull this off, but we're going to. That's just what we're gonna do. And then it looks like this corner here on this panel is kind of full of seam sealer as well, trying to keep water down from sloshing around inside that panel. So I believe the first step we're going to do here is probably just run a tape line down and across and see where that puts us, and make a few measurements and see what that looks like. All right, well, let's start right up in here, and we will run a tape line. Oh, there you go. Just wad it all up. Just wad it up. Jeez. All right. We're gonna go somewhere about like that. Tuck that in. Roll that up. And then we're gonna go ahead and swing it across. Oh, I don't know. Let's go the other way. Let's go this way. How about right around in here somewhere? We'll swing her right around the old back side. There. That is the target area, anyhow. Come right around the back. And if we look here, yeah, it should be okay. We'll flip this over. We'll do a quick measurement to make sure that we're not missing nothing. Oh, we'll just go from the top. I don't know, 7 3/4, something like that. We're only at around 6, 5.5. Got plenty. All right, well, we're pretty much set up to cut this. I got a couple spot welds on the back side of the tailgate here, or the panel, sorry, cut out. That top one there, and then I did some work up here on this corner piece. That looked like a braze, actually. And then I started working on this tack weld here. So I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put you guys in time warp, and I'm gonna buzz this out, and we're gonna fight getting it off. Okay, well, this is all pretty much detached. I think we're just stuck right there. Look at that. She gone. Let's have a look on the inside. Oh yeah, oh, I didn't even turn my light on, did I? That's better. That's better. Hey, it's nice and clean on the inside, that's good. Real happy with that. So now, I'm wondering if can a guy, I don't know, get that little dent out of there? Just hear my hand pop. Oh, it's a little low still up here. I bet I can get a lot of that out though. So yeah, that's cut out. We can now work on cutting this piece and just set it and have our overlap, if that makes sense. That's kind of the plan. All right, well, I think we're gonna get started getting rid of some of these spot welds, and basically I just have a drill bit set up here that should be big enough to take care of them, and I'm just gonna use this old I don't know, mark maker punch deal here, and just try to find the center of these so that the drill bit stays where I want it. And it looks like there's one here hidden. Here's another one that's hidden. There's another one. There's only about 860,000 of these. So we'll do the best we can. Try to get them loosened and relieved and not damage the other side of the panel. Second thought, I have an idea. Let's put the old knee pad under it so it's not banging around on the floor here. Let's see. Where'd that one go? Right here? Somewhere like that. Yep. That's why you put the punch mark. It didn't work. Probably have too big of a drill bit for the little tiny punch marks that we're making, but I don't know, maybe let's go with a, maybe give her the old couple whammy. See if that helps us out a tickle. Oh, that's better. I don't want to go through both sides, just the one side, just to release those. Somehow I'm really good at magnetizing everything. I don't know how that happens, but it always does. It's going to take a little extra convincing, but we're just going to run through and try to get this all separated. And pretty sure they make some sort of knife that you can just run through. I'm going to try to find something to hit it from the backside and just try to cut that. I don't know, I've got a pocket knife. I don't know if that'll work or not. I also have the body saw if need be, but let's flip this up on end, get out the old box cutter. And always push away from yourself. You don't want to throw this thing into your leg or arm or any of that stuff. Just try to cut some of this here. If I can get it started, or at least get some of this filler out to where I can get some sort of prying device in there. That'll let us know if we can get any separation in there. Let me get a flathead and see if I can get a flathead started in there. Alright, I'm going to try to do this without knocking you guys flying everywhere. But I was able to get the body saw through right here. I'm wondering if I was kind of hoping I could get that to run along in there. The steel must be too tight. But what if I separate it slowly? Anywho, we're just going to keep working up to this one. That's kind of where our cut line's going to be. And we'll go the other way, try to get this thing all separated out. All right, after a long fought battle, we finally got this separated from the inner. And let me tell you, well, I really don't need to tell you. You can just look and figure it out for yourself. What a disaster that was. Let me show you. Yeah, unfortunately we need to use that inner lip. So we're gonna be doing a lot of filler welding. For whatever reason, this panel was far different than the old panel. If you can see, the old panel only had one and then a screw hole and then 2 welds on the end. This one had 6 plus the screw. So the tan car must have been like a Tuesday or Wednesday car, and this black one must have been a Friday car. I don't know. Anyway, this is what we were kind of after, was to be able to overlay our part here, our new part, and just kind of get an idea of where we want it based on how it fits up. Obviously, we're overlapped back here and we're overlapped on the sides and the bottom, but that's kind of by design. I didn't want to cut too much because then that would put us in a world of shite. So essentially, this line right here would be the edge of this one, or thereabouts. Kind of. Nope, I lied. It would be more like, I don't know, somewhere in there. We haven't screwed around with it a whole lot. But anyway, that's what I'm after. I wanted to overlay this piece onto the old one, be able to trace the thing out, and or just cut both at the same time to where it will fit. Whether that actually turns out that way or not, I have no idea. I'm not a body guy, but we're gonna figure it out. So I'm gonna kind of tool around a little bit with all this stuff, kind of look at how this corner fits up, where it's gonna fit up. It's gonna be around that area, which would put our line close. So yeah, we'll just see what we get. All right, well, here's what we're doing. Kind of the plan anyway. Got my cardboard paper here, and I'm just kind of trying to line everything up and clamp it as I go so I can wrap this corner and get my shape. And I'm hoping I can cut this out, overlay it onto the new panel over here, and get a shape so I know what to cut out of that panel to fit the car. So we're basically just using our old piece here as the template, and because these are curved, obviously, as you can see, and you can't overlay the 2 panels really inside each other to, you know, mark it out, cut it. So I'm gonna try this method. I don't know necessarily if it's gonna work the way that I want it to, but we're giving her the old college try, I reckon. So we're just kind of clamping her along. And we're gonna have a little bit of this bottom edge to cut off. I'm not really sure if this is gonna work the way I want it to. I don't know. It might. Just trying to figure out a good way to do this. But if you can see, when you roll this edge here and fit it up to the back side of the panel, kind of gives you an idea of where you're going to be. Well, this is not working out the way that I wanted it to, so we're on to the next plan. Plan like C or D probably by now, I don't know. Anywho, I think I'm gonna go ahead and use this line that I've got here, and I'm gonna cut this panel. I know I've got plenty As you can see, it's pretty much lined up. It's a little bit on the low side, but we can scoot that up a little bit. We've got plenty of material both on this panel and behind it. And then what we're gonna do is come back here once we have this cut where we want it, and we're gonna straight edge it with a level to basically across to our existing panel here, and try to get a line made and get just this corner cut out so I can shift this whole panel forward and line up this flush on the back side. This is the most important part, in my opinion. We're gonna have this lined up flush back here. Then we can trace out the rest of this with this panel already flushed up in the back and cut the rest of that out. That's the plan anyhow. So I'm gonna go ahead and zip this on the blue line to get some of the material on this pan and get it straightened out better. And then we're gonna work on the back side. Okay, so basically, got our new piece cut out. This is flushed up here and clamped. And what I'm gonna use back here, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a screw hole right here and right there. And theoretically, those should be in exactly the same place on the panel. There's another one here on this side. There's actually no screw in that one, but there should be. So I'm essentially just going to line up the two holes based off the top side with the bubble in the middle. That makes any sense to you. This side's got to come up just a bit. And I'm hoping that this will work. I don't know if it's a good idea or a terrible idea, but that's what I'm going to try to do. And once I get that done, then I can level across the bottom, you know, and make a mark. I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to find out. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, let's look down the side here. And this top rail looks really good if you're looking down it. This obviously is pushed out. All right, well, we've got our mark coming straight across. We're only gonna cut this corner. I just need it to fit here so I can get the rest of it lined up. That should be really close. And also, I did double check. I put the panel on and basically just pushed it up to where our two screw holes are right across from each other, like so. And check that line. It marked it a little bit on the high side. If we need to take a little bit off, we can. We just don't want to take too much off originally. So I'm just gonna cut a slit down and cut this corner out, probably right here. And hopefully we're dang close. Hopefully there's not another spot weld right here in the corner. We'll put that bend mark in it, and then we'll get our body saw and cut that there and pull that piece off, see what we have for fitment. All right, let's see if we can get this lined up here a little bit. Need to take off a little bit of this corner right here. It's kind of hanging us up. So let me zip that off and we'll retry it. All right, as you can see our little cut mark right there, and that's fine. This has to come up just the tiniest bit. I know it's hard to see, but our screw hole right here is lined up right where it needs to be. So I can always put a screw back in there to hold this in place, but I need to take just the tiniest bit off right over here, and that's fine because I cut above my Sharpie line, which you can probably still, yeah, you can still see the whole Sharpie line. So we just got to take that Sharpie line off basically, and that panel should fit perfect. And then we can line up the rest of this and get it cut out. All right, well that didn't take much at all. There it is, it's flush in there. And we can continue on with our project. So with that being said, that being flush, this is basically lined up where it should be because it's overlaid. And the back is set where it needs to be. So we can probably try to get some of this traced out. And actually I want to measure the distance there too and see if that's the same as the other side. Let's see what we got here. Wow, you little, I gotta put that screw in back there. But at a quick glance it looked like it was right on the money. Yeah. It's a 16th off, but that could also be taken care of when we have this panel set. So I like it. All right, with this all flushed up back here, we went ahead and made our Sharpie line down this side right here. And basically we're gonna cut this first so I can lay this panel flat, and then we'll do the bottom and we'll get that cut. So we'll take this panel back off here, and I just used a locating pin back there, which is a hole punch. So you can see our line coming up here. We'll get that cut, and then we can lay this panel flat and get the bottom side. Well, sorry about that. I thought I had your recording, but we got that cut. We have one spot weld to get up here. Let me show you these things. My brother, the professor, sent me these drill bits off the old Amazon. Wolf Ride. 6 and 8 millimeter spot weld removal drill bits. And they're a flat bit with just a tiny point. We're going to give those a shot. All right, let's see how we did. Get everybody happy here. Put a little pin back in there. Oh yeah. Right there. Let's That's where we like it. How do we look back here? Boy, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing all right tonight. Get our Sharpie line here. Lines right up to our cut mark. I would love to cut and butt this, but I can't because it's a sealed cavity. It's wonderful. All right. Let's cut that last piece out. I wish I could get that little bit of a dent. It's just not in the cards. All right, it's all flushed up here. This is looking okay here. Got a little bit of grinding to do along the side over here. Kind of highlighted it with a Sharpie. Same along the bottom. There's a little stretch right here, and then just a little bit over here. So I'm gonna clean that up a little bit, and we'll recheck our fit, and we should be in pretty good shape, I believe. Well, boy howdy, I think we've got her set up here pretty good. That looks pretty goddamn good to me. Kind of holding this panel out back here just to keep it all flushed up. Gap looks good. This is gonna get kind of pushed in as I go. It's something got a little shifty like normal. As I was saying before the camera died, when you cut these panels, they tend to flop a little bit and move. So we'll have to work through that, getting this put together. But I'm gonna take this off, get all this sanded down, all the metal cleaned up, and all that stuff. We got to cut these little nubbies off of here, clean that up too, strip the paint, you know, all that good stuff. Pretty boring to watch, so I might just put you in a time lapse or something, and we'll get to it. All right, well, we got her in a pretty good spot here. Oops, this back corner, I need to start here. Hold that, and tack this back corner in first. I'm gonna work my way towards the cab, but it should turn out pretty good. That's where we're gonna call it tonight. We'll be back down tomorrow night. All right, well, I suppose it's time. We're gonna start back here in this corner and get all this lined up real pretty. Throw a tack on it. Work our way that way and up. And that way, if we've got anything that needs to be trimmed, we can kind of still get to it. So I think what we ought to do here is go ahead and get all situated. And I think that as long as we can get this guy here all flushed up, we'll go ahead and try to manipulate the magnet on here somehow. Get all the metal shavings off it first. Might not work the way I want it to. How about the straight edge? Get her worked around here somewhere that we like it. That looks pretty good. Nope, I sure don't. Not at all. Moved on me. So we'll go ahead and cut that weld off. Try it again. All right, well, I cut that little tack off. Let's go ahead and give this another shot here. I did not like how that lined up at all. Boy, this thing is just dark as can be. I can't see squat. That is much better. All right, we're gonna go for another tack right here. And we'll come around to the side over yonder here. Just gotta kind of slowly work your way around. Get everybody in their happy place. Some of this stuff kind of tweaks around just a little bit. This is perfect right through here. This is a little high up here. We'll put another little tack right here. Let me get one more right here, and then I'll bring you guys around to the other side over here. Okay, let me bring you around. This is really pretty dang close right here. Really close. If anything, it might be just a shade tight. But I can always take our cutoff wheel and give us a little gap though. I think we're hung up a little bit right there, which is why I can't get that flush. It's flush here, it's just out maybe a 32nd of an inch right here. Let me try to get a little space put in here and we can flush that up. If I need to cut this tack again, I will. That should work pretty good for us there. All right, let's continue on. Made a couple small adjustments to the panel here. I did run the cutoff wheel down this just to give us a little bit more room. And it kind of helped us out a little bit. It's amazing. Where'd my straight edge go? I carried it off somewhere, didn't I? It's amazing to me how much these little panels can move when you give them just a little bit of heat. It's kind of mind-boggling, if you will. Let me find my straight edge. There it is. And we're gonna go ahead and keep working our way down this panel here. I do have a 90-degree pick stuck in back here to pull this panel out. I don't really like that one. I'm gonna cut that weld out. We did not do a very good job flushing that part. So I'm gonna cut that out. We're gonna redo that one. That's better. Bottom panel was in just a shade. I'm gonna grind that smooth here quick. I got everything wrapped around everything. That's where that little dent was. That's why that was in farther. If you remember where that was, it was right there. That actually feels like it straightened it out. There might be just the tiniest bit of it left. Otherwise, that would have been why that was in instead of out, if you know what I mean. And now we're gonna pull this top side out a little bit. Got to trim just a little bit again here with our cutoff wheel. We're a little tight, but she's coming. She's coming along. All right, we're welded along the bottom and that brought this in pretty flush over here. We're gonna have to push just a little bit up here, but the rest of this looks great. Still lined up good up here. It should still be lined up back there because it was tacked. We're doing good tonight. I like it. This doesn't happen on the Holo project very often. In fact, it pretty much never happens on the Holo project. So let me find a spot for you guys here. Got it. Welder is just set up beautifully tonight. Per usual, we pull that out just the tiniest bit. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Actually looks good where it's at. What do you think, Mr. Horse? No, sir, I don't like it. You guys remember Ren and Stimpy? If you ever watched Ren and Stimpy, drop us comments down in the old comment box. Curious to see how many of you folks out there remember that the good old days. Try to bring that out just a bit up here at the top. There we go. I'm gonna make a tiny cut right there too. It's a little tight. We're not getting that to move very easy. And then we should be in really good shape. Oh yeah, that's a lot better there. Yep. That's almost perfect. There goes the meat wagon. Oh, my exes live in Texas. That's why I hang my hat in Tennessee. I like it. All right, well, you folks know what we do from here. Lots of welding. Weld, weld, weld. Grind, smooth, Bondo, sand, paint. No, we're not gonna do all that. Yeah, we are, just not in this video. But I am gonna weld this all up and get it ground down flush. And we may try a little Bondo work. We gotta do some here and up here. And I've got all the fixings up there on the Cadillac for it. So, for now, enjoy the music. Let's get welding. 4 hours later, I got all that paint stripped off of this. Let me tell you, that was not an easy task. Sorry about the air compressor, but I used one of these things. I don't know, it's a blue deal that's hard, and that was all I could find that would work. I tried wire wheel, I tried sanding it off, I tried everything, and I couldn't get it to come off. This took it off, but it still took forever, and it didn't leave any residue behind. You can still see little remnants. I'll show you. I don't know where my brother found this thing, but he gave it to me, and it worked very well for stripping paint. And I cut those little knobs off too for the trim piece, and grinded those down. Making pretty good progress. You can see that's bowed in a little bit. You can see some of my welds still there too, but that's actually will get covered with Bondo. I don't need maybe a 1/16 of an inch to get that where it needs to be. I don't know. We're gonna try it. I put a straight edge on it. You can kind of see there. I don't want to take those welds down too far and make the steel thin trying to get the weld. So that's where she's at. Well, we got our Bondo here. We're gonna go ahead and get this mixed up and try our hand at doing some Bondo work. Hell, I don't know. All I know is you got to make sure this stuff is mixed very well, and then you have a limited amount of time to actually spread it. Any of you guys that do this for a living, chime in with some tips and tricks, because I have never done this. I've seen people do it. I'm gonna get a smaller deal here. Yep. Yep. Might as well hit this door. there we go. I guess we'll try that. All right, well, this is our second coat. I had the first coat all sanded down. I need to do a second coat back here. There was a little dent here and here. I just sand those down a little more and fill those. This isn't too bad. I'm gonna have old Rich Galen, the painter, come have a look at all this. You know, make sure it's all right. But we were still a little low in the middle here, so I put another coat on, and we're gonna sand that down, see what it looks like, and then we're gonna move up here to the door. It's just been sitting there with some Bondo on it. So we're making some progress anyhow. Try to get this all squared away. We'll back this thing out, flip it, and work on the other door. Probably for the next video. I don't know how far we're gonna get in this one, but we're giving her the old college try. Well, hey, my buddy Galen stopped by, the painter, and was teaching me a thing or three about doing this here bud work. It's always good to know somebody that knows how to do it. Yours truly does not. Anyway, what he was showing me was that even though the low spot's down here, there was another one up here to mud all of this. So you can see, because this is still low, because I'm into the metal here. But he said bring it all the way across and then sand it that way, instead of just trying to fill the low spots, run it all the way across. So that was kind of cool to learn, and also learned that the longer your mud sits, you know, if it's a couple days or whatever, the harder it is to sand, which makes sense if you don't think about it. But so yeah, we kind of dinked around a little bit over here. He was showing me some stuff. Also taught me to not just do certain parts like this. Same as I was saying back there, mud all this, you know, all of it instead of the gap and you know. So definitely learned quite a bit today, thanks to Mr. Rich Galen. And I also ordered 80 grit sandpaper. I was trying to do all this with 120. And, well, I got 60 as well, 60 and 80 grit. So we're gonna reconvene tomorrow to where I can knock this down quicker for the coats. I think that was 3 coats on that. It's not very thick, just thin coats, but you kind of gotta build it up to where you want it. So I don't know if I showed you around the back side. This is still a little bit low as well down here. So yeah, there was a little dent here. We got to work on that a little more. But anyway, it's coming. So yeah, we're gonna wait for our, ooh, that's a door. We're gonna wait for our other sandpaper and get back on this. There was also some body work done already up here. You can see the different color Bondo that was still too low. So I'm kind of working on a little bit of that too. But yeah, so we'll keep rocking on this thing. All right, well, I sanded down this with the 60 grit. Clean this up a little bit, hit that again, and we're just waiting for this to dry. Once this dries and sets up, it's getting pretty close. We'll give it one more once over, the whole thing here, and we'll probably wrap this one up. Probably droned on for long enough on this one, but if there's any updates when we get this side done, I'll be sure to show you in the next video. But should be pretty close. Just this last coat over it, sand it down, and then hit it with this final coat, this whatever finishing glaze, which is a lot thinner stuff, easier to work with, and sand's easier. It's just kind of your final layer, and you hit it with your lighter grit sandpaper, you know, up to your 400s, your super fines or whatever. Get it ready for primer and paint. So I'm gonna let this dry up and we'll start sanding on it. All right, well, there's that. It's mainly ready to go for its last whatever coat, thin coat of the one fancy stuff that painters and body guys use that I was told to buy. I don't know. We got to finish the door. We'll get that done. We do have some other crap to do on this car. Obviously, the other side. We got to do the same things over here. And little things all over the place before this will be ready for paint. But we're making the progresses, as the Canadians say. And we're just going to keep on going. Hopefully you guys like these. It's different. I don't know. I've never done body work. You saw me do the floors in the Cadillac. That was fun. This is totally different than that. So it's lots of fun. I'm ready to get back to turning wrenches and not be a sheet metal body guy anymore. Getting real tired of it. We've got that little pretty LS sitting over there in the corner that I'm just dying to tear apart. So stick with us. Keep watching, sharing, liking, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you in the next one.